What's good, man? It's your boy Juicy J, man. Shout out to Virtual Homework Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. So this is a bit of an interesting development here. We don't normally...
It's a little different.
We don't normally do podcasts, a one-off like this, but it just so happens that some of the most important gaming news of probably the last 20 years has taken place today.
Straight up.
To the point where I was like, I had to call and wake Dana up on his day off. I'm like, you got to hear what happened.
I was so first off, you called me first. I didn't answer because I was like, so I like messaged you on Discord like, hey, what's up? And then you called me again, so I'm like, all right, I'll answer. And then you like this bombshell, and I'm like, all right, I'm wide awake now.
yeah, it's pretty big deal. So Blizzard is no longer going to... I guess Blizzard was already no longer Blizzard. It was Activision Blizzard. But Blizzard and Activision have been acquired by Microsoft for, I think it was $68 billion.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. What does this mean?
It means quite a bit, and it's not just Blizzard and Activision. It's like all their other little studios as well, like Harmonix. The people that do Guitar Hero. Like the implications for this run super deep. And let's basically just get into it.
I just want to say, like, we don't normally do this, but like considering how long we've been talking about Blizzard on this podcast, as well as like how big of Blizzard fans we both are. Like, I'm literally wearing a Blizzard BlizzCon shirt right now. I'm a big fan.
I'm
not
shirtless
burning
with
the
a hoodie
shirt
on.
after the last 2 months of revelations. We basically this is the most important day for both of us. More important than children, etc.
I'm curious about your take on it because I have a very positive take on this whole situation, but let's basically just go into what happened. For what we know, a deal that's going to be finalized in 2023, Activision was acquired for, I think it was $67 billion, which is close to half of what they were fully worth almost a year ago. It was bought out at $92 per share, which is like significantly higher than what it was, and the share price has gone up quite a bit since then.
Yeah, and this kind of makes sense in that yesterday we were hearing rumors of like even more layoffs, or not even rumors, confirmed additional layoffs because of the Blizzard controversy, and we just thought it was getting worse and worse and worse, and then now we learned this news. It's probably due to massive restructuring within the organization. This has... I don't even know where to start here. I guess let's start with the next steps. So 2023... that's the date when it's going to be full integration into Xbox.
Yep.
Big question on everyone's mind is Bobby Kotick. Is he going to stay? Most people say he is...
So it's been confirmed that he is going to be stepping down in 2023.
Can you link me that? I don't remember seeing this.
I guess it's expected, but...
Yeah, okay.
I swear I read an article saying that he was going to.
Well, the thing is, everyone expects him to, which, I mean, like, I guess some people are going to be conflating it and saying, oh, he's definitely gone after 2023. Obviously, this comes in the wake of a massive controversy, and most people want Bobby Kotick gone just due to the fact that he's a terrible CEO, and he ran a
Microsoft has publicly criticized him as well. So
they haven't actually publicly criticized him specifically. I looked into this because I heard this a lot, how Phil Spencer and Microsoft specifically publicly criticized Bobby Kotick, but no, they really criticized Blizzard and leadership from Blizzard. I don't think they ever named Bobby Kotick in their criticisms, but it's obvious that they did not like the culture within Blizzard, and while they are generally hands-off in the studio acquisitions that they've had in the past, I would be very surprised if they kept the current leadership. I mean, in fact, there's an expectation that they've mentioned where Blizzard is going to resort to Team Xbox Blizzard is going to report to Team Xbox. And I mean, just looking at the organizational chart, there is so much, I guess, bloat and redundancy that I assume that they're going to get rid of. I assume that heads are going to roll on the Blizzard side. I'm sure Bobby Kotick...
I imagine mostly the dev teams and like day-to-day employees are going to stay. It's just going to be a complete restructuring of like the higher ups in the company.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, I'm not feeling too bad for them because I'm sure that a lot of these people, first of all, I'm sure a lot of these executives, especially Bobby Kotick, have made a lot of money off this deal, considering how high the stock price is going at this point.
Oh, billions.
Yeah, so we're talking about people that the heads are going to roll, but they're probably going to be very comfortable in their post-Blizzard life. In terms of the actual implications for us gamers here,
Well, there's actually a couple implications. For one, it makes sense this has happened in the light of Sony buying so many studios out, whether it's Bethesda, whatever, and other companies have been, other companies that have bought stuff out. Bethesda was bought by Microsoft,
Yeah.
Have been buying stuff out. It makes sense for Microsoft to start buying companies out because, frankly, Microsoft's first-party lineup sucks. It's pretty terrible, and this is adding so many licenses. It's like Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, Guitar Hero, obviously the Blizzard games. You're getting Skylanders, Spyro, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like there's
We'll go through the actual game list
of very good titles.
We'll go in the games list in a second, and each individual game, what the implications are for that. But like, I just mean like implications for gamers, like how this changes the landscape. I think that the decision was right in terms of Microsoft buying them at this time. First of all, just due to the fact that like without this like terrible workplace environment culture, this would have never happened. I know that we've talked about the decline of Blizzard and like Blizzard, not just from this sexual harassment case, but just in general, like the quality of the product is getting worse and worse for the past decade or so.
Yep.
I never expected like Blizzard to no longer be Blizzard, or at least Activision Blizzard to no longer be Activision Blizzard. Like
Absolutely.
The only way this is possible was due to the fact that their stock price dropped so low that a $140 billion acquisition last year is now a $70 billion acquisition. It could actually be something that they could build up goodwill within Microsoft. The whole thing though is that like it's smart from a Microsoft perspective because if you look in the landscape of gaming, like maybe like in 2000, we saw that most of the people who were like the highest revenue makers in the space were all these like actual like software companies like EA, etc. But if you look in 2020, the primary source of profit is these platforms. So we're talking about like Microsoft as a platform with Windows and Xbox, and then essentially a platform needs a bunch of stuff on its service like Netflix, and by building up their library of AAA studios under them, so like Bethesda and now Activision Blizzard, it's just like solidifying Microsoft's attempt to really get that number one spot back. I personally don't think that this is like super great in terms of the consumer because I like the fact that...
I mean, I think it's great, but I'll let you go into you, but...
I think in general for the landscape, for Blizzard fans, it's probably great, but in general for the landscape, it's important that we see competition, a healthy competition. I'm not going to say that this is Microsoft furthering a monopoly on gaming. I don't think there is a monopoly on gaming, frankly, just due to the fact that like there is so much competition in the space, but I think it just represents a dismal outlook for the AAA landscape, where the entire AAA, not necessarily entire AAA like market is under Microsoft, but entire genres are now within Microsoft's domain. If you want a competitive first-person shooter, you are looking at Microsoft.
It's Microsoft, yep.
If you want a competitive RTS, you are now looking at Microsoft. Like, entire genres have been completely monopolized from this Microsoft acquisition.
And then if you like, it's the same thing with Sony. If you want story-driven games, it's all on Sony.
So yeah, in that regard, I don't like that from a consumer because you're basically like, I hope Microsoft does something good this year. There's no really competition in that space, and they know if they make the next Call of Duty or next Halo, like that's going to be the game that sells. Like they're not gonna necessarily try as hard to beat competition.
So my mentality on the whole thing is, I'm thinking as a consumer what this means to me. The CEO of Microsoft, Phil Spencer, has done a lot for goodwill in Microsoft for the past couple of years, increasing the brand knowledge, people wanting to go into the Microsoft ecosystem. The biggest thing for me here is the implications it has with Microsoft Game Pass, because that's the thing they're trying to push. So if they start putting like these Blizzard games, people are talking about the World of Warcraft subscription being bundled into Xbox Game Pass, which is something they've done with previous online games that they've acquired. That would be huge. That would get millions of people playing World of Warcraft, which could revitalize the game. Like, that's huge to me. Having the ability to also, if I'm playing World of Warcraft, to play all these other Xbox games. Because it's not really much about running a profit for Microsoft as much as just getting people in the ecosystem. And I think this is going to give it enough games that people are going to want to be in this ecosystem.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, because I'm an ignorant World of Warcraft gamer, I guess. I keep saying gamer and I hate it. Is there any chance that after this acquisition, I know that they have to make money, and I know that they're going to be doing that through exclusives on the Xbox platform. They say they're going to maintain a lot of cross-platform, but like have Xbox exclusives in those games. Like I think Call of Duty is the one they said. They're not going to make Call of Duty as a franchise only on Xbox, but they're going to like add only Xbox features. Do you think there's ever a chance that World of Warcraft gets like free to play on Microsoft devices, not even through Game Pass, like actually just like trying to incentivize people to use Xbox or Microsoft related products.
I mean, there's really no way to tell.
Okay,
It is
I just
kind
thought
of
about
interesting though, because at the I believe over the summer they added controller support for World of Warcraft, which is something they didn't have for years. You had to use all this obtuse third-party tools and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering if that has something to do with leading up to the acquisition of this company or something like that.
I just think it's like I don't see that many monthly subscription individual games. Like you're talking about bundling, but like the subscription model for WoW just doesn't really line up with a lot of Microsoft and Xbox's offerings for gaming. So like it's weird to me that they would continue that service. However, I mean
so typically how it works is it would work as you have to still buy the DLC, you have to buy the expansions, but then the subscription would be bundled in with the Game Pass. That was what I believe they've done with ESO.
Okay.
Elder Scrolls Online.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know Elder Scrolls Online. Come on. All right. Overall, I think that for Blizzard fans, like this is definitely a great step in that direction. I think that this has the chance to revitalize WoW, and I think that if they actually add developers to Blizzard from Microsoft's side, then we might actually see like a higher quality product. However, I mean the thing is, I keep reiterating, they're generally pretty hands off with their acquisitions. I mean, the thing is, they spent a lot of money on this, so they're probably going to be less hands off than most. But like, I don't think we've seen anything substantial come out of the $7 billion Bethesda acquisition, which is like the closest thing, I guess, to this. I do also worry, though, because Microsoft traditionally has led to mediocre output from traditionally, I guess, like renowned studios. Rare is the one example that everyone talks about, how after the Microsoft acquisition, Rare kind of tapered off.
Well, how long ago was that, though?
That was a really long time ago. However, like there still
I feel like maybe the landscape has changed, and maybe they've learned quite a bit about how to deal with acquisitions and stuff like that. Because you got to think, like that was from an era when what was it? Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, and everybody was shitting their pants. And now we're talking about $70 billion for a video game company. I think the landscape has changed significantly.
I guess, but still, like Microsoft just doesn't have the same. Like Microsoft has goodwill. People like Microsoft, but Microsoft doesn't like foster the same emotional, I guess, baggage that like baggage, good and bad, that you would see from Blizzard. Like hypothetically, like if Microsoft made
I don't think they are ready to deal with how passionate people who love Blizzard products or loved Blizzard products in the past are compared to like how passionate people are against games they're used to being. I think they're going to have to take a very specific approach to dealing with the customer base of these games.
I think that's partly going to be more hands-off approach. I mean, like the thing is, my main concern, and I know I've actually kind of like given up on this, but I'm wearing a BlizzCon 2019 shirt.
Canceled.
And the thing is, I bought this BlizzCon 2019 shirt. I'm not sure if you're canceling BlizzCon or me because I'm wearing the shirt. I'm confused,
Both.
But it's okay. Yeah, okay. Everyone's getting canceled. I bought the shirt knowing that this was going to be a special BlizzCon. At the time, everyone was thinking about the Hong Kong drama, which I mean, like, looking back, was so small in comparison to the events that have taken place. But I kind of joked that, like, oh, maybe this is going to be the last BlizzCon because of the Hong Kong drama. And then as things got worse and worse, and obviously the pandemic allowed them to delay BlizzCon indefinitely, I thought they were going to use that excuse, given the lack of goodwill and the fact that the event runs at a loss, to cancel BlizzCon altogether. But, I mean, I always had that little flicker of hope that they would bring it back. Because at the end of the day, people really like BlizzCon, but now that BlizzCon is going to be something managed under Microsoft, I'm really worried about the future. Just due to the fact that, like, unlike Minecon and QuakeCon, which are the other two conventions by Microsoft acquisitions, I'm pretty sure those run at a profit. BlizzCon, as far as I could tell, ran at a pretty big loss for the company, and they only did it out of goodwill. That doesn't necessarily, like, if Microsoft doesn't necessarily have a connection, and, like, maybe they see the event as a way to, like, foster the, again, rabid fan base that you're saying Microsoft may not be equipped to handle.
That's something I didn't even consider. Like I said, they're not going to consider the feelings of Blizzard fans and just might write off the BlizzCon as just something that's not worth it.
Yeah. So I'm just worried because they obviously understand the value of BlizzCon. They're business executives. However, I feel like under the momentum of Blizzard, they kind of, like, no question had to do a BlizzCon year after year, or else they would, like, get a lot of outrage.
It would be so bad if they didn't.
Yeah. this year, I guess Microsoft has the chance to reevaluate and say, like, hey, with the restructuring, we're not sure if BlizzCon really fits into the new Blizzard Entertainment, and then I'm gonna get sad. Except honestly, I would attend a Microsoft con, even though that sounds terrible. I think they would put on a good show. They have the money. They would.
Well, yeah, it would be pretty solid, but then there'd be like the little, throwaway section in the corner with like Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Diablo.
Yeah,
so.
the thing is, like, going to BlizzCon, you meet some of the most passionate individuals on the planet for Blizzard games. Like, I can't see even though Microsoft has a lot of like hypothetically, if they had like a Halo con, you'd have some really big Halo fanboys.
Well, that's what I mean when I say that Blizzard fan people are like an entirely different breed about how passionate and how much we love these games, even though we've been kind of downtrodden for the past couple of years. It's definitely something they have to take in account.
Microsoft's really good at sleek, but very corporate. And I feel like that's what BlizzCon ran by Microsoft would be like, or if they had MicroCon or MicroCon, I guess that works. I would still go because I have been itching for a BlizzCon or BlizzCon replacement, sadly. But I mean, obviously, I would also be safe. I'm not going to just like maskless breathe into people's faces. There's move
one thing
on.
We kind of glossed over though. We didn't really talk about the acquisition of King and the mobile division. Like Candy Crush, is arguably larger than some of the other games we've even talked about.
Yeah,
that's
I think
huge portion of the mobile market.
I think this is probably the best time to just go, I guess, down the list of every single Activision Blizzard property and see how it actually is affected by this this acquisition. So I know you sent me a link. A lot of these make absolutely zero impact, so we're going to be able to skip a bunch. But Blur, I have no idea what that is. Caesar, I have no idea what that is. Call of Duty, kind of a big deal. We mentioned that there's now a monopoly on first-person competitive shooters from Microsoft. That is insane. I personally don't care about Call of Duty, but I know that now Call of Duty and Halo was the biggest rivalry in gaming growing up for me, and now I can't believe that they're owned by the same company. That seems like it shouldn't be allowed. Candy Crush, I don't really see that many Microsoft or Xbox mobile games. You're saying that this is their way to really break in, and by break in, aka the most popular mobile game of all time.
Well, yeah, this is probably half the reason they want the acquisition is just fucking Candy Crush. That alone is probably worth it.
I don't know if it means more mobile games from Microsoft. I don't even know what Microsoft is doing in the mobile space right now because obviously
I don't have any idea either.
They obviously tried their own Windows experience. However, I feel like they're pretty salty on mobile anything right now. I haven't seen any big news in the mobile space from Microsoft in a while, so I could probably move on at this point instead of saying the same thing over and over again. Crash Bandicoot. Now, this is pretty crazy, right?
That's a big one to me, and I think that game... Well, they just came out with the new one, was that 2 years ago, and it ended up being pretty good.
Well, it was just a remake, right?
No, it was a brand new game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What was the remake
Crash 4.
They also did a remake,
right? Was it the Insane trilogy or whatever? They came out with that, but then they came out with Crash 4, and it's actually super sick.
I mean, I just see those coming to Xbox, which is that was I remember Sony fanboys were really bragging about that being on Sony as an exclusive. It's oh, god damn it.
I just think that Game Pass type shit is the future of gaming, personally.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more in the platform space after this, but I agree with you there. I think it's just funny that Crash Bandicoot was often railed as one of the reasons to get
the Sony
and now it's
the Sony thing.
Now it's on Xbox.
Now it's owned by Microsoft.
Diablo 4 is obviously in development. I've played it. I'm the only one who's ever going to play it, and I liked it. So
I thought you said you've played Diablo Immortal.
I have played Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, last
I thought it was just Immortal.
Yeah, they're good. What are your thoughts? Diablo. Nothing.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Diablo. It's one of the most beloved games of all time. It's going to be on Microsoft. I don't know how it's going to change. To be honest, we really can't say much about a lot of these things because it literally happened 6 hours ago, and it's not going to be done until 2023. So,
all right, let's skip a billion of these and just go into things that are interesting.
Well, yeah,
so
it's Guitar
DJ
Hero,
and DJ Hero and Guitar Hero. I remember Xbox 360 playing. I mean, the thing is, Rock Band's kind of taken over, so I don't think those are super big properties at this point. Underrated property, Geometry Wars. I often found that Geometry Wars was hailed as the Xbox Live arcade game to get, and I'm pretty sure it was Xbox Live exclusive. I could see them doing something with Geometry Wars in the future, but nothing too crazy. Hearthstone, yeah. I could see them bringing back Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is free to play at this point, right?
So here's the thing. I think we tangentially discussed Overwatch 2 like actually going to be coming out because Microsoft has a huge point in their business model to deal with like esports and stuff like that. And I think this might revitalize a lot of these dead esports games that Blizzard tried to railroad. And
the fact that like
just going to pour money into them.
Yeah, honestly, like Microsoft, for as much money they put into esports, have kind of failed. Specifically with Halo, like no one cared about like the $1 million Halo Cup or whatever. It was like basically a high school gymnasium, and like there were 4 people. Do you remember that picture?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, you never seen this? This is literally $1 million prize. Oh no, Halo Fest. They've done so bad at fostering like an esports lineup, and like they finally have some games that are competitive. They're probably going to try to really push those, especially Overwatch. Hearthstone, honestly, I could see them doing a decent amount because like Hearthstone is one of the biggest bang for your buck sort of games.
Yeah, I mean, and at the same time, Hearthstone still has a decent amount of people who watch it. Like you watch any Crip stream, he still gets like 8K views like of playing Hearthstone. I think people want to play these games. Just a lot of the time they're just feel like disincentivized to, and I think if they revitalize a lot of these IPs to make them more interesting or add more stuff to them. Like, you definitely see a comeback of, like, these games.
Comeback of Heroes of the Storm, I definitely think so, because they want to basically break into that. Heroes of the Storm is basically a league.
Yeah,
so they're going to want to break into that market.
I know people that still play it because they think it's a lot of fun.
I mean, that and, like, they're probably, let's be honest, they're probably going to revitalize StarCraft if they're going to do anything. And
that's the big hope.
Yeah, and, I mean, besides that, Spyro, really, I guess Tony Hawk, they're just going to keep making more Tony Hawk remakes, hopefully.
Cool. Tenchu, the legacy games, I guess that means they just remake the old ones. I guess they can't really make new ones. I don't know who owns the IP for it. Like Quest for Glory is kind of cool. Like some of the more like point and click type adventures. Like the biggest thing is all the studios they've acquired. Are you familiar with like what studios they've acquired?
Well, I thought it's just King, Activision, Blizzard.
No. So that's under Activision Blizzard. Under Activision, they acquired Beanox, Demon Ward, Digital Legends Entertainment, High Moon Studios, Infinity Ward, Raven Studios, Sledgehammer Games, Solid State, Toys for Bob, Treyarch, like a whole bunch of studios. That's why I was referring to earlier with Sony acquiring so many different gaming studios that Microsoft is kind of doing the same thing to strengthen their lineup.
We talked about the big guns. I don't think we really have too much else to talk about now. The only thing I want to say, speaking of platforms, a lot of people are like basically framing this as like this is Microsoft trying to compete in the metaverse, and I think that's the most insane take ever. I think that like yes,
I don't know the first fucking thing about the metaverse, to be honest.
You're basically just using Second Life to load up your game. That's the best way to describe it, I guess. The thing is like, the metaverse is the new buzzword. Yes, there's probably going to be some sort of like Second Life clone, especially spearheaded by Facebook, that is going to gain some sort of popularity. The thing I just want to note is that, yes, you could probably have a metaverse launcher for these games in the metaverse to have. I keep saying metaverse and it just sounds like
I have a
fake
furry avatar with a giant penis in the metaverse?
Isn't that like a donkey video? But I just want to say, it's not the metaverse. These are just games that people play and games that are important to a lot of people, and that's what they're buying right now. They're not buying a ticket to #1 in the metaverse. That's insane. Anyway, I think that's about all I have. Do you have anything else before we sign off this special episode?
No, just for me, I think this is overall positive for people who are fans of Blizzard. I think this is going to hopefully see a bunch of positive change. We're going to see a change up in the hierarchy of higher-ups in the company, and we'll just have to see how this unfolds over the next couple days or weeks or months or even the next year.
We're almost definitely not done talking about this. Probably like an update every week for the next year. Jesus Christ.
Well, I already have my own like little Blizzard section every fucking time, so.
Yeah. I thought we were just going to talk about more layoffs. This is a pretty big news, you know?
Yeah, that was all we were going to talk about, was fucking layoffs. I'm eating Skittles, man.
That's a Skittles update. See you all next week. See you all Monday.
Bye.